Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of TV is Our Real Mom. I'm Dave,
I'm Katie.
and in today's episode, we are going to discuss Survivor Season 32, Kaoh Rong, Brains versus Brawn versus Beauty 2, Episode
Now you
2.
said the whole thing again.
Yeah, from now on, I just got to call it Kaoh Rong, right?
Yes.
Episode 2, what's the name of this episode? I forgot to look that up.
I think it was kindergarten camp.
Kindergarten Camp, that's right, yeah. And that's a statement made by Joseph, which I actually kind of predicted that's who would say it.
It makes sense. There's an old man complaining about the younger kids. I mean, if you had to make a guess, that's a pretty solid way to go.
Yeah, I saw the preview too. He was having some bickering with Elizabeth, so that kind of led me to believe he would be talking about her when he said that.
Yeah, he was with her. He was like, I'll get the water, Liz. It's fine.
Yeah,
I kind of liked that. I like that he's a cranky old grandpa, but she was being a bit of a, I don't know what.
What was she being
Don't
a
you
bit
think?
of?
A princess. She was being a princess. Like she's the only one that gets, cranky and that if she doesn't get water. I mean, you just described all of humanity. So, but she was acting pretty tore up about it.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I also feel like she was, or Joseph was being a little insensitive. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
They're both probably a little at fault there, but it was entertaining. So that's all we care about, right?
yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, I think there's a little bit of the whole. It's been 4 or 5 days up now, and they're friggin' in the brutal conditions, and they're struggling. So you have to wonder how much that comes into play, I guess.
Yeah. But even though, Liz was being kind of a princess to the camera, she had the wherewithal to remove herself from everyone else so that she, didn't get herself into trouble with her princess-like behavior. And it's not a princess, requirement to want water. Everybody wants water. But just the way she said it kind of annoyed me. But I'm easily
Yes,
annoyed by these contestants.
true. Speaking of water, what do you think about Debbie being so willy-nilly with the drinking water, not worried about contamination at all? She says she can
You
just look
know,
at it, and I can just look at it and tell that it's safe to drink, and you know,
I think that's a lot of hullabaloo because every single episode of Naked and Afraid that I've ever seen, and I haven't seen that many, but you can almost guarantee that someone's going to drink the water, get so thirsty that they don't want to boil it, and then they get sick. I mean, it happens every single episode, I feel. So I feel like maybe they're setting it up. Maybe Debbie's going to get super, super sick, and she's going to be medevaced.
I don't want to be a dick, but it would be kind of hilarious if that's what happened to her, just because of the how big of a deal she made it about how safe it was for her to. She knows by looking at it that it's safe to drink, and it would just be kind of. There's always that sweet poetic justice when someone like gets knocked down a
Yeah.
peg by stuff like that.
Yeah, I could see that happening, and Survivor loved that. So Survivor always says, "Oh, we can't." They really like to show someone say, "We can't lose. We're on top of the world." Episode, they're gone. So they love that, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's what happened.
Yes, indeed.
But holy moly, I couldn't stand her. I mean, I don't even have. I can't imagine being like and dehydrated and then having to listen to that all day. That would grate on a person.
Yeah, I could tell just even in her first interviews that she would just be that type of lady, and it just keeps getting worse
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, I mean every week it just keeps getting worse though. Like
Yeah.
she gets more and more annoying.
But it looks like next week she has a plan, so maybe something will happen.
Yeah, it sounds like she wants to attack, but I don't know what that means.
Or why would you attack someone? That sounds a little harsh.
Isn't that what Jeff said in the preview or something? Or said she
I don't remember.
plans her attack? I don't know.
Maybe it was his words. Yeah, could be. He likes the hyperbole, so could be.
But yeah, they also didn't state whether or not that attack was going to be, trying to vote someone out, or if she's like, she could be totally talking about something completely different,
She could be talking about like a wild boar.
Yeah, exactly.
That they're gonna go kill.
Exactly, because
I'm sure she's done that in her life.
Yeah, she's done everything else, so.
Yeah. Boar hunting's got to be on the list.
Has to be. Did you, before I forget, this minor spoiler alert from a different show, but did you know Naked and Afraid had, man, I'm not sure I remember his name, but he was from Survivor One World. He was
some dude from Survivor that we don't remember.
Yeah, he was a tall, dark-haired guy.
Yes.
He was on Naked and Afraid.
Did he make it? Did he survive?
Yeah, minor spoiler alert. No, he didn't, and guess why?
He drank the shitty water. That's what always happens.
Exactly. That's why
every single episode.
You can't help but wonder, what's going to happen to her. But at the same time, I mean, you got Rudy. I remember Rudy from All Stars. He just drank the water straight up. He's like, I drank worse shit.
Rudy just doesn't give a shit, and Rudy's inside matches outside. Like, just his whole body can do stuff like that.
Yeah, he's like, I drank worse shit in Vietnam, so it's fine.
I've built up an immunity. So not everybody's Rudy. Maybe Joe is. Joe seems pretty sturdy out there, but at least he's, being kind of cautious.
Yep. Well, I just want to say something quick. Our connection seems to be a little shaky. We are trying out some new equipment here. Catie used to not have the internet. She was leeching off someone else, but she has her own internet now, so it can't. It's probably not that. I just got I got a new camera, and I'm trying out a microphone. So there might be some issues there. I mean, it's tough to say, and it's tough to say if the bad connection is even going to make it in the final video. But I just thought I'd throw that out there. That we apologize if there's technical difficulties. But we will try to get through this podcast, anyways. So
just get through it.
Yeah, let's just get through this one. It's only episode 2. We got a bunch left. I mean, it's not the greatest episode, so let's just get through this one.
Yeah, we'll get through it. We'll survive.
That's it. That's the name of the game right there. All right, so let's move on to something else. What do you think?
What?
Let's move on to something else.
Yeah. To a different tribe, you mean?
Whatever. What do you want to talk about? I mean, I think maybe
we have to talk about the elephant in the room named Jennifer, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, that was an ending I didn't see coming going into it.
Oh my Lord. That was one of the biggest implosions I've ever seen.
Yeah. I don't understand her. I don't even understand why she even went to Alicia in the first place, because Jason was being a dick. Clearly he's not a nice person, especially when there's someone he doesn't like, and she let her emotions get the better of her and thought, let's get rid of this guy, even though that's a really stupid move, because at this point in the game, obviously you need guys like that. You don't really need Alicia's. So that was a dumb move to begin with, and it was based purely on emotion and impulse, like she said. And then what happened at Tribal Council, I don't even know where to start with that.
Oh my God.
That was probably one of the worst Tribal Council performances I've ever seen in my life. All she had to do was, I don't know, what did she have to do? How could she have brushed that off?
Well, don't you think
Girls Alliance thing?
Don't you think what caused the problem was that she hadn't really made up her mind yet, kind of like she was so unsure about the right decision to make that it just came right out of her mouth, and it like that she's like, oh, it's up in the air. It's like, what do you mean it's up in the air? Like, we didn't know it was up in the air. I
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
can't say stuff like that when you're supposed to be locked in a 4-person alliance. So
Yeah, I think
don't know.
she
I mean,
was
that's
so
what,
confused that's what came out.
yeah, and that's what got the ball rolling. It's like that kind of thing where you just dig yourself deeper and deeper and deeper. Everything she said, she was digging her grave deeper and deeper and deeper. And I was like, just stop talking. But she wouldn't.
Yeah.
And then she's standing up on the thing like a crazy person.
Yeah. The
I
best
think
thing
that bug got in her ear and like ate away some of her brain.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
I
Maybe it messed with her brain and she's like just brain dead now and she can't play Survivor. Because
it ate away the survivor instincts in her brain, if there were any.
Exactly.
I'm not sure that there were to begin with. I think she's a kind person and she let that like rule her completely.
I had a good feeling about her though. That was my girl pick to win.
Yeah, you're already down one. Wow, that's bad.
Dude, that came out of nowhere though. I mean, that was just such a
It did. It really
she was in a really good position and then all of a sudden just like totally, I mean, we're talking up to the very everything was fine with her until tribal council, and then right at the beginning of tribal council, boom, that's when it all started. She was still a good pick up until that moment. So I don't know, it's kind of shocking.
Yeah, that's what did it for her, was actually saying the truth at tribal council. Well, that's funny because she was talking to Alicia on the beach and she's like, what's the best thing you can do in this game? And Alicia was like, being honest. And she's like, no, being honest is not the best way to go. But that's what got her in trouble and got her ass sent home. So she didn't even take her own advice. You need to rein it in. You need to say as little as possible at tribal council as possible. Right? Isn't that kind of the rule?
Yeah. I mean, you got to try to play it close to the sleeve. Although some of the best players have said that they like to sort of air out everything. Like just talk about, just lay it out lay it all out on the table. Like some people say that's the best method, but I don't in this.
Yeah, but not
scenario,
in that situation and not in a way that completely implicates yourself.
Exactly.
But still, do you think that getting rid of Jen was the right call?
It's tough to say because, well, you got to think who voted for her. It was Kyle and, well, I guess we're calling him Jason. Jason and Scott voted for Jen. And then Alicia the only reason Alicia voted for Jen.
No.
What is that? That's not right?
No.
Who voted?
Scott voted for Alicia.
Oh, he did? So Jason.
I think it was just an idol flush. They were flushing the idol. They knew that, I think they knew that 2 people had to vote the other way. So one person. I don't know.
How did it go?
Maybe I'm wrong about that.
How did the votes go then? Because isn't it 5 people voting, 3-2?
Scott and Alicia, or no, Scott voted for Alicia, and Jen voted for Alicia. The other 3 voted for Jen.
So Sydney. So you're saying Sydney voted for Jen?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, I didn't know that. I assumed that Scott and Sydney's votes were flipped around there.
You assumed wrong.
So that means Sydney obviously
Sydney's good.
Sydney wasn't buying the whole female alliance thing either, I guess.
I think she wasn't buying the Jen thing because she sensed that Jen was flippy-flopping before they went to tribal council. And maybe she was like, I don't need to be attached to that nonsense. So she decided to stick with Scott and Jason.
Yeah,
although Scott voted for Alicia. But again, I think they wanted one person to vote for someone else in case there was an idol. Because Alicia was out looking for it. So
would that even
they would have been smart
an idol? Yeah, I guess if they all voted for one person.
Yeah, I would get rid of Jen.
You only need
the other person. I don't know.
You only need one vote on someone else to flush an idol there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
But
either
I
way.
think that I still think it was the wrong move, because if you have someone who like owes you something,
Yeah.
then I think that's probably the smarter move, because she was desperate and she would have done anything. And so I think they made a bad call. And Alicia's clearly super quick to turn on whoever. Although she was right to turn on Jen because she turned on her. So, but still, I think that, and God, holy crap, that girl's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't like, I mean, when Jason's mean to her, but she is super, super dumb.
Yeah. I mean, she called an ember an embryo.
How are you 20 real estate and you get ember and embryo confused?
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I'm sorry, but
I don't
but
know.
yeah,
That's kind of unforgivable. But it's not just that. It's just, I mean,
I,
I can't even remember the other instances, but
yeah.
she
There's
is
another time when
stupid.
she says, "No one has even asked me to form an alliance yet." I guess that's
Yeah.
probably. I guess that's probably telling me something. She says that's what. It's
On
like,
day 6, she figures this
yeah.
out.
She's like, I think that I think that means something. It's like, yeah, that means something.
Good job, Alicia. You figured out Survivor. You win.
Yeah. But I mean, at least she was
Yeah.
smart enough to realize like there's probably nothing she could do. She should go look for an
Mm-hmm.
idol and hope to God that'll save her ass. But then she got just super lucky that Jen just imploded at Tribal. So that's how that went down.
She did. She got really, really lucky. She may be kind of charmed, actually.
Yeah,
But
that
she should have been gone 2 people ago, and she's still there.
if she wins, I mean, she'll go down as like the survivor that won on sheer luck, I guess.
She's not winning. God, I hope she doesn't win. That's so
Yeah.
silly.
How do you feel
But
about
geez, I don't know.
Jason's chances at this point?
I don't know. I feel a little too much like he's not subtle. He's not subtle enough to, I mean, Russell wasn't subtle. He bullied his way to the end, but
Yeah.
that's not a game that wins. And it seems like he gets along with Scott and Sydney, okay, but I don't know. He's going to rub some other people who've already formed, when they do merges and that kind of thing, people who've already formed bonds with each other, I think they're not going to be so welcoming to his kind of in your face and aggressiveness and bluntness. And you have to still be nice on the surface to people,
Yeah.
or you're not going to win. You might get to the end, but you're not going to win. But like, earlier tribes before him, like Mat Singh and Luzon, and those tribes that just lost and lost and lost, the people that are left over in those tribes tend to make it very far. So he's definitely going to be one of the last ones standing in that tribe, I think. So that bodes well for him.
Yeah,
What do you
that's a
think?
really good point. I mean, when these small 6-person tribes get decimated and you only got a couple left and then they get dropped into a merge, they end up being the swing votes for fractured other tribes that are fractured, and there's people they want to get out.
Yeah.
So that's usually how it works out. So I mean, his chances are still okay probably, but I don't know. I feel like after 2 episodes they've gone down in my book a little bit.
Jason's chances have?
Yeah, in my book.
Yeah, his shoulders, I'm worried for him. I think he might be a medevac. He looks like he's literally on fire.
Yeah, I mean, I've had burns like that,
So,
if not worse. I mean, it's the plight of fair skin. I mean, this is really what happens to you is your skin gets just fried, and you get these like blisters, and it's painful. But I mean, it's not enough to pull you out of the game. I mean, you just gotta
well,
be smart like Cochran and cover up.
or be like Joe. Joe had a good base tan when he went out there. That sun isn't going to hurt that 72-year-old skin. He's solid. He's not going to get a sunburn.
Well, he also has extremely swarthy skin complexion. So I mean, there's that.
You
But
can get a tan even if you're fair skin. If you know you're going on Survivor, like go out in the sun and
yeah.
just get a good solid base.
He probably could have pre-based it a little better. That almost sounds like free base.
Base. This base.
Pre-basted.
Get a base.
Yeah.
Or go to the freaking tanning bed. I mean, a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks going tanning probably isn't going to give you cancer, but that sunburn might.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens with him, but I feel like it's probably time to move on from Braun and get into Beauty a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't see much from them, though.
Nah, just a couple funny little
vignettes.
Things. Yeah, Ty and Caleb, little bromance going on there.
Little relationship, and I hope it continues. I hope they actually. I mean, I don't know if they're actually working together or not. That will be interesting to see. He might need Caleb's help to get that freaking. Okay, what's with the immunity? That was the most insane scavenger hunt to an immunity idol that I've ever seen on the show. Freaking complex, other than like grabbing it in the middle of a challenge. This is like a 3-step thing, and then you have to climb. Ty can't even climb that tree that high.
Yeah, I think you have to remember that both these seasons filmed in the same year, but this one filmed before season 31. So they're basically just trying new things with the idol in both these seasons that filmed this last year. And I gotta say, I kind of do like this idea. Why not make the idols more difficult to find, or not necessarily harder to find, but once you know where they are, make them tougher to get to. Not just like, oh, I found it, I got it, boom, done. So they're trying out new things there, and so far I really like it.
It just seems so exactly the opposite. Like Jeremy last season, his second idol, he literally had like a torchlit path to his freaking idol, whereas Ty has to dig under trees and then climb trees and bloody himself, and even then he can't reach it. I don't understand how you're even supposed to get that. How you're supposed to even retrieve that idol.
That's what I like about it. It's not necessarily fair to Ty, but I like it.
I have a thought that I want to get out before I forget it. Maybe they're encouraging cooperation in finding these idols, be like idols that you can combine. Remember?
Well, yeah. That information is out there that this season will have idols where you cannot play it without someone else who has the other half of the idol. So
yeah. I'm saying that maybe the whole philosophy behind idols this season is cooperation.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe you need 2 people to get the idol, and you need 2 people to find both pieces and play them together. So yeah, it's like this all-encompassing 2-person idol approach, which could be cool. Yeah, I mean,
well, it looks like next week the whole Braun tribe is looking for it, and it looks wrestles Alicia, which is a little weird, but
yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, my thought is that there's a good chance that Jason is going to sort of bully the idol away from Alicia. Like she's going to be picking it up, and he's just going to take it out of her hands, and he's going to be like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
What are you going to do, Blondie?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I've always wondered about that. Like, are there any rules in place in the game of Survivor that they're not allowed to do something like that? Because what's stopping people from just like taking idols from people? Like, oh, this is mine, yoink.
Yeah, what are they gonna do? Go to the producers and be like, oh, she took my idol away from me. That's not gonna fly.
I can't help but feel like that's what we're looking at next week is the first time we've ever seen someone just be like, I'm taking that. That's mine now.
Well, the only reason I can see for him just launching himself at her like that is if she freaking has it.
Yeah,
or she has something. Like she could have the first step, the piece of paper, and for all he knows, that could be it. And so he goes for it.
Yeah, what's stopping people from doing that unless there is a rule in place that we don't know about,
Well, if there's anyone who's going to show us what happens, I think it's Jason. So
yeah, watch for that next week.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be all people are talking about if it's what actually happens.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so Ty's idol, my other thought was you could possibly chop the tree down.
Yeah.
Just
That'd be hilarious if
just chop
Ty,
it
the
down.
tree lover, the gardener, the person that loves all life, has to cut down a tree to get the idol. And obviously, people would see him cutting down a tree, but he
Yeah.
could just say it's for shelter or
Yeah.
something.
You have to wonder too if he would be able to possibly get it on the next try, knowing ahead of time where it is, having time to mentally prepare himself, physically prepare himself, and go take a second shot at it. I could see him being able to get it. What if he just had the right time, the right opportunity. But you got to wonder if there's going to be like a swap too before he ever gets around to getting it. So
I hope he knows that that's a possibility, and so he goes back to that tree soon with a shirt on, maybe with some pants on, maybe with some shoes on.
yeah,
and gets that thing.
exactly. So I guess we'll see about that. Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else to say about the rest of the beauty tribe. They're killing it.
They're doing well, so we don't need to see anything.
Yeah, which is fine. I think it's people we're going to see more of later. I think they're all going to go relatively far. So
yeah, and you were right about Caleb too. He says himself, he's like, there's no homophobe in this guy.
No, I mean that's the other thing on Big Brother is he's super open with everybody. He's not a judgmental person whatsoever. But at the same time, like all of his interactions with people are kind of self-promoting, like, oh, I'm so funny, I'm so awesome, I love everybody. And that's just how he is. I mean, yeah, it's enjoyable in this case. Yeah.
There's a bit of an ego
better
there.
Than being a bully.
Could cause him some problems, yeah. Maybe. So far, so good for him, though.
I don't know. People with, egos like that, maybe it's just easier. But then if anything threatens their ego whatsoever, woof, I don't think it's good.
Yeah.
Woof.
All right. Let's just touch on maybe a couple other things that were interesting about the episode. I did want to say that I'm starting to feel like I might be wrong about Peter. That he might not be as bad as I thought he was. In a number of ways.
His cat joke was top notch, truly original.
But it is the kind of thing, like, if I was just chatting with him, I might actually laugh at that. It's kind of funny.
Well, yeah. But you could tell he thought it was so funny, and I just wasn't laughing.
It's 40 cats. I think it's 40 cats.
It's 40. Like, that's arbitrary. It's not funny at all.
Yeah. But how he said that, he said he wants to keep Debbie around because that's the kind of person you want to keep around. She's brainy, she's somewhat useful, but she's also super annoying. So that's the kind of person you want to keep around. And I thought that was like, that could be telling about what's to come.
And couldn't you just see him in that conversation? I don't remember what Debbie was saying. She was boasting in some way about how awesome she is. And you can just like visualize yourself in that conversation. Like, you just want to roll your eyes, but you have to be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he did. I mean, he was kind of over the top, but you could just see it in him, what he really wants to say, but he did a good job of letting Debbie believe, yes, you are awesome. I really think you're awesome.
Yeah. And that is a just huge survivor skill to have. I mean, to be able to do that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm feeling better about him after this episode, but who knows? I mean, what do you think if Debbie and Joe are targeting somebody, who do you think they'd be targeting? Do you think Joe is so annoyed with Elizabeth this week that he's going to throw her name out there as an option?
He seemed pretty annoyed.
Yeah, he seems to really not like her. But
I would say Liz probably. Maybe Pete, but I think he's better at hiding his annoyance.
Yeah, I have to wonder about Neil too as a possibility there. I mean, if Debbie is like forming this like let's get him, let's hit him, let's take somebody out. You got to think that she's going to want to go after someone she sees as sort of like a big threat in the game, possibly. So,
yeah, Neil, she could definitely single him out as not annoying, really smart, soft-spoken, but deadly. And so maybe she'll single out someone like that.
Yeah,
I
that's
have no idea where Debbie's mind is. I mean,
yeah.
she talks about herself, but as far as the game goes, I have no idea what she's thinking.
Yeah, and it could just be the sort of thing where the show, ultimately it's going to be Debbie or Joseph that gets taken out, but the show wants to show that, oh, Debbie and Joseph were going after these people. So then you're worried about that person, but really it was going to be
It's just Debbie and Joe.
yeah, one of those two. So that's possible.
Yeah. I mean, it seems likely that it'll still be one of those two. But geez, look what happened tonight. But the Braun tribe is a hot mess. They are a disaster.
Yeah.
I don't think the other two tribes are the same.
I'm still just blown away by that implosion at Tribal by Jen. That was just unbelievable.
That was horrendous.
I
can't even believe that happened.
Speechless on that one. Well,
that was a bizarre. Even Jeff Probst was like, "What the hell?"
He's like, "That was."
He's seen a lot.
That was the weirdest Tribal ever. Basically, is what he said. And like she friggin' she got up on that chair. I mean, what the hell was that all about? I mean, it obviously didn't help her much.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she lost a Fruit Loop there in that bug incident, I think. So
yeah, she makes me feel really bad for picking her.
Well, you couldn't have seen that coming.
No, it was so out of left field.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Anything else you wanna touch on?
I guess I just want to say the Braun tribe is a hot mess. Yes.
Yeah.
But I like Scott, and I'm really surprised how much I like Sydney, the way she handled what happened this week.
Mm-hmm.
I like her as well. So I hope if the Braun tribe keeps getting Matt singed or oolonged or losoned, that they get rid of Alicia, and I honestly hope Scott and Sydney are the last two standing. I'm cooling on Jason. Not so big a fan of him right now.
Yeah, me too. But either way, we'll see what happens with him.
We will.
Yeah, and I'm feeling good about Scott and Sydney too. I think they're proving themselves to have a multifaceted game.
Yes. I'm not sure that Jason has proved that yet.
No.
But we'll see.
He's not stupid.
He might have another level. He's not stupid, but
he's not stupid.
He's too.
He's aggressive.
It's
a style. It's a style of play. I mean, we'll see how it goes. For him.
Yeah, we'll see. We say that about everyone. We'll see. Of course, we'll see. What are we gonna stop watching?
That's the name of the friggin' show. That's the whole point. Is you gotta keep watching and obsess over it.
Keep watching. Don't stop watching now, Dave.
I might have to. I'm gonna keep podcasting. I'm gonna keep podcasting with you, but I'm gonna quit watching the show.
That could make for an interesting podcast.
It would basically just be you telling me everything that happens, and I'll be like, "Oh my god, really?"
Yeah, that'll be it.
Super interesting.
People lining up to hear that.
Yep. Well, anything else?
No, I think that about covers it.
Yeah,
we can make our predictions for next week.
Not the greatest episode of Survivor, but pretty decent. And Jen's explosion was one for the record books, I think. So that's cool.
Yeah, it had a out of left field ending, which is more than most mediocre episodes. Like if Alicia would have gone home, it would have been a super mediocre episode of Survivor. But that ending, that put it up a little bit above mediocre, in my opinion.
Definitely some poetic justice for Alicia too, because they were so mean to her. I mean, even Jen at that point, when Jen's trying to help her out, she says, "You're totally absent-minded and you drive me crazy, but I like you."
Yeah,
it's like such a never heard such a backhanded compliment in my life. You're totally absent-minded.
Yeah, and
you
then
drive me crazy, but I like
you. And then at Tribal Council, just the bald-faced lies that Jen was telling to make Alicia look bad. I mean, that's a survival technique, obviously, but that wasn't cool either in Alicia's eyes. Yeah. So she was happy to see her go.
Yeah. Yeah. So predictions for next week.
I don't know. I don't want Braun to keep losing. I kind of want someone else to lose next week, but
It's got to be Brains next week. Got to be.
I don't know. They seem solid. They really do. I don't
I
know.
don't know. I feel like Beauty's more solid, and Braun is just.
Well, Beauty is way more solid, but both of them are just way ahead of Braun.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
But I mean, maybe after losing, well, they just lost a strong
They
woman.
lost a strong lady.
Yeah, it's tough to say,
I don't
but
know.
I do feel like there's a good chance it could be Brains next week. I just get that feeling. Could be totally
Okay.
wrong. I thought it was Brains
And
this week too.
so did I. I thought Liz was gonna go home,
Yeah, I was
but
still
I
leaning
was
towards
wrong.
Debbie, but
Yeah, I mean, I say either Debbie or Alicia goes next week. I don't see Beauty losing, so no one's going home from that tribe. So
which is that
Debbie,
try.
if Brains loses, and although if Pete wants to keep her, they might go Joe. I don't know. Could be Debbie or Joe or Alicia from Braun. So
Yeah, that sounds about right. Why don't you plant your flag in the ground somewhere?
but this way I'm more likely to be right. I have three
No,
flags.
I know it's so nice to do that, but no.
Fine. I pick Alicia. I think Braun's gonna lose again, and Alicia's gonna finally go home.
All right, I'm gonna say Joseph.
Okay.
Yep,
Solid
Joseph.
pick. Solid pick.
Awesome.
When are these medevacs going to start? You think it's going to be later in the game? Later in the season?
Yeah, probably. It takes a little while for all that to really hit you.
It takes a while for infections to fester.
Exactly. Infections, heat exhaustion is probably going to just become more and more of a possibility. We haven't seen that much rain yet. I mean, what if it starts to rain a lot at night and stuff? And
I don't think they're going to get rain because the rain started on second chance.
what, it can't rain both?
Nothing.
It can't rain during both
There's like
seasons.
a rainy season. There's like a rainy
39
season and a
days.
non-rainy season.
And
Yeah,
it's
but
like 78 days.
they were on the other end of the rainy season because it was hot at the beginning of second chance and then it started to rain. And that was the rainy season. Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, but
Haven't you seen Forrest Gump?
It's a tropical region, right? It's gonna rain at some point. Even
Yeah, it probably will rain, but probably not at the level like we saw Stephen Fishback and those guys just, withering away.
yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
Yeah.
Anyways, that'll do it for this episode. Once again, apologize if there's any technical difficulties. We're still, we're enjoying this, and we're trying to get some better equipment, for this show, and we're trying out some new things, and we'll figure it out eventually. So, thanks for bearing with us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Adios.
Adios.